Welcome to this week's Techie Tip. In this session, we're going to introduce ourselves to Google's Calendar. Calendar is a pretty nice feature, and it does exactly what the word calendar does. It allows you to create appointments, set up your day, schedule your events, and share some of that scheduling with other people who may or may not have access to your calendar. So to get into your calendar, you can do that one of two basic ways. The first is, of course, to go to your Google Apps and select Calendar from the Calendar drop-down list and your app options. Or you can simply open up a tab and type in calendar.google.com, and that will bring up the calendar. Whichever process works best for you, but you do have to be logged into your Gmail account for that to pop up. When you see the calendar screen for the very first time, it's pretty basic. If you take a look across the top, it gives you the dates. And if we go a little bit further, you can view your calendar by a single day, by an entire month, by an agenda that you have set up, or of course, there are more options where you can print and refresh. The typical view is, of course, the week, because that's where most people are involved in. They're active for that week. But once I select that item, notice that I have previous and next arrows that allow me to go a week forward or a week backward. If I were to click on the month option, it would move me forward a month and back a month. So you definitely have some ways to view how you schedule yourself or how your appointments appear. Traditionally, the week is a good view. So once you know how to move around in your calendar, there are a couple of other things to show here. You actually have a drop-down button called My Calendars, which shows you the option to have other calendars out there. For example, you may have your own personal calendar, and then you may have a team meeting calendar, or you may have a math teacher's calendar, or a grade 4 calendar that you share with your coworkers, so that they can see what events that are scheduled by that particular group. You can also have an appointment calendar. You can have a reservation calendar. There are lots of really different ways that you can use the calendar. You have birthdays, reminders, and of course other calendars such as holidays in the U.S. You turn the calendars on or off by clicking on them. And when you click away, you'll notice that the holidays in the United States disappears. So if I were to turn that back on, and we'll just go to the month view so that you can see this a bit more clearly. If I toggle that on and off, the holidays disappear. If I turn on reminders off and on, if I had any reminders in my calendar, they would toggle off and on. So I personally like to keep the holidays on because I want to make sure I do things like daylight savings and take advantage of the plus or minus of the day. So the only other thing that I really want to show you in this opening lesson for your calendar is how to create an appointment. This too is pretty simple. You would simply click on the Create button, and that brings up a dialog box where you can put a lot more detail into the event. So if you were going to enter something here, you would enter the name. You could select the day that you want this to take place on. Maybe it's March 14th. You would adjust the times appropriately. And you can, of course, make it a 30-minute session, and you can have it occur all day, or you can repeat, which we'll talk about in another session that explains a little bit more about scheduling events. You can enter a location. And as you begin to type that central location, it will pop in some other items where it believes it might bring up those central office locations. You can create this as a Google Hangout, which we'll talk about in more detail in another lesson. It identifies the calendar that you're putting it on. You can certainly put in some additional details. If you had an agenda that you wanted to attach to this meeting event, you would simply click Add Attachment, locate it on your drive, or upload it from your computer, and simply add that item. So we'll do something real simple, and we'll add this tutoring file, and we'll just select that, just to show you how easy it is to add an attachment or an agenda. You could also remove that by simply clicking the X and remove the attachment. You can also identify the event as a specific color and add a notification. The nice thing about notifications is that you can give yourself either a pop-up on the calendar, or you can have it email you. If you were to click on this drop down, you could say email me 30 minutes before. If you wanted it to be something other than minutes, you would drop down here and you would choose the appropriate item. So you can add another notification in which it'll just pop up on your calendar, and you would simply choose exactly what it is that you want the reminder time to be, and you would be all set. You can also identify your calendar on this event as busy or available. Common sense will tell you that it'll be busy, and its visibility will be the calendar default. So that's the basic way to add an event to your calendar. So if you can see, this is put on my calendar for March 14th. So if I move forward a week, there's the event that I created. If I say to myself, oops, I really wanted that to be on March 10th or March 15th, I could simply click on the event itself, choose Edit, and go back and select the appropriate day that this should be on, which perhaps is March 13th, which is Monday. That's where I really would like that event to be. I click my Save button, and there it is. There's my event. Another thing that you should be aware of is that it's just as easy to delete that event by selecting it and clicking the Delete button. So that's a basic way of adding an event to your calendar. You can provide as much detail to the event as you would like. You can provide yourself reminders through email as well as pop-ups on your computer or your device that you're using this. And you can edit the event and of course delete the event. So that's a very quick introduction to Google Calendar. And our next session, we'll talk a little bit more about the settings and some other nice features of Google Calendar.